and gentlemen, fighting out of the red corner, a well-rounded fighter standing 5'1", bringing interviews of boxing, MMA, and combat sports from athletes from around the world. Now, introducing from the ring to the mic, Miss Lisa Marie.
What up, everybody? This is your girl, Lisa Marie with Global Fight Talk. I had the honor to interview none other than three-time world boxing champion and Boxing Hall of Fame, Julian The Hawk Jackson. Now, everybody remembers Julian as the knockout artist. That's what everybody talks about. I mean, hey, he had 49 knockouts. We also touch base on the ins and outs of his pro career, who he could have fought, who ducked him, just everything that's going on before and after. We also touch base a little bit on his amateur career and what he's doing now. Hey, he's a minister and he's now training both of his sons who are professional boxers. So I hope you enjoy this video as much as I did. I was reading an article on you about when you started your amateur career, which it was a very short amateur career. You didn't have that many fights.
No.
You knew that at that very moment that you had knockout power. You said it came natural. What was the deciding factor from only having, 17 amateur fights to go pro?
Yeah, well, it all stems from the people you're working with. My trainer, Willie Wilhelm George. He was one of the, I think, best coaches. He literally understood. He literally knows the athlete and what you possess. And he said to me that your hands are very heavy. You have good power in your punch. You don't have to even try to throw the punch hard. Just throw the punch, and you're gonna hit hard. And he really taught me how to to get my strength and to control my strength. And I was able to really I think punch with a lot of I think technique behind of it. That's something that I believe my coach left with me, and he taught me how to use my body behind my punches.
Right. Well, I'll tell you like this. You still look good.
I'm telling you, Clayton Laurent, training these guys, and I have to stay in shape.
Yeah, definitely.
No ifs
Well,
and buts about it.
you are a three-time world champion in two weight classes. You were the WBA super welterweight from 1987 to 1990. What was it like, training all those years and capturing your first title fight, your first world title belt?
Wow. Well, it was a journey that we had decided to do coming out of the Virgin Islands. It wasn't easy. Why? Because boxing was not something that was really up here in the Virgin Islands. And a lot of people would tell me if I'm going to make it, I have to go to the mainland.
Yeah.
I have to leave the islands. And my coach and a few others, we talked about it, but my decision was to stay here, and my coach as well, Willie. And this man, like I said, he was the best trainer I've ever had. And I stuck with him until the very end. He was deceased, but I tell you what, he left a legacy, and I'm now trying to I guess pass the baton, or the baton on. And my sons definitely making a name for themselves. And I think it's because of the hard work, the dedication, the faith, the stand, the desire to just make a difference. And I think that's what it takes, really. As a young fighter coming out of the Virgin Islands, and having so much negative there was a lot of negative uh, from people that you think would, you know, think different, or, you know, talk to you different. But it's amazing that, most of my, strength and came from people that were close to me, my family. And
Right.
I think that's what it takes, and I'm sure that most athletes and people that were influenced, in any area of life, you know, had to hold on to something that was positive. And I held on to, I believe what my family believed in me, and and a lot of them believed in me, and I had to, make that stand, and I did that. That's
Right.
why, that's why I believe, that's why, I became, a world champion, because of the faith, because of the belief, because of the trust, that people had in me, and as well as, my life when it changed and God came into my life.
Seconds. But one of the things that Ring Magazine, they gave you out of 100 greatest punchers, you were ranked number 25, according to Ring Magazine. How did you feel about that? I mean, that they gave you like the hardest puncher of all time out of 100 greatest punchers.
I mean, can you imagine that? I'll be honest with you. I did not know that. And it really wasn't something that I was, thinking about or looking for. And somebody just came up to me and said, "Man, they got you on the internet, and man, you are the hardest puncher in boxing." I said, "You kidding me?" And to tell you the truth, I just wanted to, um, I think, fulfill my desires, and that was to be a fighter, as a young athlete growing up, and getting the opportunity to train, and I made the decision that boxing was going to be a career. I just wanted to do something that I love, and boxing was it. And I was not looking to break records, or to be in the Hall of Fame, or to become a world champion. I just wanted to be a part of something that I think was positive. And it's amazing, when you know, come to a place where you get involved in something that, you want to be the best at it. You may not even realize that it's destiny. And I think boxing was something that, um, I believe that, I was called to do. And
Right.
and boxing has led me to many other areas of my life, that I realized that, I can make things work if I only once I put my heart in it. Once I want to do it, it's going to be done.
Right. Well, the greatest knockouts of Julian the Hawk Jackson, and this is what we're watching in the background. And there was this video that was out that they compared your power to Mike Tyson, and who was the hardest puncher versus you or Mike Tyson. Well, the guy that put the video together, he said that it would have been you. If Tyson's a heavyweight, you're a middleweight, but they considered you to
Right.
be even harder puncher than him. Mike Tyson's very well known for his power just as well, and so are you. And
Right.
you had this ring intelligence IQ that you were in there. You were in and out. You were a boxer, puncher. You were able to switch stance from a southpaw to an orthodox. Where did that come from? I mean, what you were able to switch, and then and just you had knockout power in both hands, to be honest.
Right. And I think that came from a lot of hard work in the gym. Being that I did not have a very you know I would say long resume as far as amateur is concerned. And I believe amateur is the foundation, and it tends to build you up. But I only had 17 amateur fights, but I believe that my training in the gym I spent hours in the gym. Okay, and I had more boxing in sparring in the gym than I had, as an amateur fighter in the ring. I
Right.
literally, boxed so much more, and I used to train with a lot of guys that were, pro as an amateur, and I think that helped me a whole lot. And I remember when I really started to, come into myself, and I was sparring with a very well-known junior middleweight, and I think he was a champion of Trinidad. Eddie Marcel was his name,
Okay.
a guy by the name of Eddie Marcel, and my coach, apparently wanted me to spar with him, and I was amateur, and again, I guess there people were saying, they was telling Eddie Marcel to be, take it easy with him, but when we put the gloves on, Eddie Marcel literally had to try his best to keep me off of him.
Yeah.
you know, and I think that I started to recognize that I really did have some power because after training and sparring with a lot of these, professional as an amateur, and I literally knocked a few of them down, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing, and I realized that my trainer said to me, he said, son, you have something, that a lot of fighters don't have, and you have natural power, and you was born with it, and you can use it to your advantage. And I guess by his coaching and his expertise as a coach, I think it really developed me as a real good power puncher and boxer.
Let me ask you this. There are a lot of athletes out here who are naturally talented, and
Right.
some of them do not work hard because they think they have that natural power, that they don't have to work or train hard. At any point during your career, because I know you keep saying it's the hard work, the training, your trainer
Right.
was best, and for you to have that power, and him telling you that you have this natural power, at any point did you think like, oh, I got this power, I could, you depend on your power, and you didn't train hard on some days that you just didn't feel like it because you had that knockout power?
Oh man, no sir. You know what? Uh, I realized that when I go to the gym, this was I think what was instilled in me by my coach, and
Yeah.
I think personally I was a workaholic, and I just
Mhm.
wanted to be in the gym, and I just wanted to work out and train, and if he tells me run 10 laps, I would give him 11. You know what I'm saying? If he tell me he want me to do 5 rounds in the bag, I would give him 6. And
Right.
I realized that paid off, and it showed, especially in when I go to spar, when I go with the other guys, as a youngster growing up, and you tend to have a little competition going on, in the gym, and I realized that my conditioning, okay, really was a factor,
Right.
in my coming up as an amateur too. Definitely
Well,
was a factor.
you made your pro debut in 1981 and
Yes,
finished.
in
You
Puerto Rico.
finished. Yeah, you finished and retired in 1998. So let me
Yes.
ask you this. Within those years from 81 to 98, I'm going to ask you some questions and see if you remember any of those fights. But out of those fights and those many years that you fought, what was the most historic knockout you've had in your career that you can think of? If somebody were to ask you, Julian, your best knockout that you will always remember out of your career, who was it?
Buster Drayton.
Okay.
Buster Drayton. You know,
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Buster,
It's gonna be playing
Buster
soon.
Drayton was a tough kid, man. He was a warrior, and I knew it. And I knew that it was going to be a slugfest. I know he's going to come at me, and that's what really I wanted. That's my kind of fight. If he brings it, you know, I know he's going to get hit. And
Right.
uh, I think in that time of my career, I was really, um, you know, finding myself. And Buster Drayton brought the best out of me, and I was able, to I really connect punches that I believe um, would have put somebody out earlier. But this kid took some good punches. But one punch that I caught him with a left hook right hand, and I felt the shock in my hand, and I knew in my elbow when I hit him, I felt it, and I knew he was hurt, and I knew I did not have to throw a next punch, and all I did was put my hands out, and he fell at the same. I mean, it was just amazing how that happened. And I
Right.
and I just showed him where to fall after I hit him, because I knew when I hit him that he was out.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. The fastest hands you've ever fought. Who had the fastest hands ever?
The fastest man I've ever.
Mm-hmm.
That was Terry Norris.
Okay.
Terry Norris was, yes, he was one of the quickest fighters to me. Back then, I mean, good agility, good movement, good boxing skills, and I knew that I was going to be, for a good fight. But I realized that in order for me to compete with a fighter like that was to put the from the first round to the last round, I was prepared to go, uh, 12 rounds, throwing punches.
You knocked him out in the fifth round.
Yes, and that's because of the strategy that we had was to keep the pressure on him. You know, he's going to come out quick. He's going to come out fast, and we kept the pressure on him just to give me the time to really connect. And it happened early, and I was able to connect him against the rope, and I think he was surprised as well. He didn't expect me to be as fast as I was as well. I have good speed as well. I'm not.
I'm going to ask you about a few more. Who was the hardest puncher that you fought?
Um, I believe it was how it was what's his name? Gerald McClendon. Gerald McClendon. Um, yeah, he was really a good puncher as well. And we said in that fight, I said in that fight, whoever get hit first, you know, eventually he's gonna go. And I caught him some good punches. It wasn't the punches that I wanted to catch him with, but I realized it was affecting him still, and I got a little careless. I felt that I had him. As a matter of fact, the corner was I think was in a place where they were actually trying to. He was telling the corner that he don't want to do it. He don't want to go anymore, from what I understand. But the corner pushed him out, and I think I got a little a little too careless, and I went in for the kill, and he caught me, man, with a right hand, and I respect all fighters, and
Right.
that's the game, and I got caught.
Out of your career, what was probably one of the things that you regretted the most that didn't happen or it did happen?
One of the things that really, affect me the most in my career is that I didn't get the fights that I wanted
Okay.
to get. Um, I didn't get the paydays that I wanted to get. Um, and one more thing that I believe, I regret was not getting the opportunity to fight. I had the opportunity. What's his name? Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh, wow.
When fight the winner, and it was said that this was going to happen. To the deal now, he Terry Norris instead of me, and really that really hurt, and I couldn't understand, but how they could have done that, and it was some type of excuse. He had the right to choose whoever he wanted to fight, and he chose to fight the loser, which was Terry Norris, and still Terry Norris beat him. But the fact is, it hurt me because I would have, I would have gotten the opportunity. I would have gotten the privilege to fight Sugar Ray Leonard and have a big payday. And you know what? Even though I beat Terry Norris ended up, getting the big name, getting the big purse after that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You are now, from what I understand, a minister. Now
Yes.
you run your own gym. You're training your kids. How does it feel going out there again? Although you're on the other side, you're walking
Right.
your kids to the ring. Does that ever bring back those emotions when you walked in the ring? So for you to fight, do you ever feel like that's me with outer body experience, or do you always, okay, my kids are fighting and I'm not?
Oh man, I'll be honest with you. It is something that I love. It's something that I believe is a part of me, and to continue to be involved in boxing was the greatest thing for me. And even though I'm not in there boxing anymore, but yet I'm still being a part of it, and it brings joy to me. I'm not afraid because it's my son, because I believe that if you prepare yourself, if you work hard, if you dedicate yourself, I believe that the best is going to come, for you. And once you respect the sport, like I said, the sport will respect you. And that's one of the things that I feel that I'm comfortable with. I'm happy to be involved in boxing still. I'm not directly involved. I'm indirectly involved now, and I still tell those guys that one day I'm gonna step into the ring and I'm gonna fight for the world title. But this time it's going to be the heavyweight championship of the world. And, oh yeah, and I'm really excited, with what's going on. And you know what? God has a lot to do with this. I found God as a matter of fact. I went to Las Vegas, and I was going there to fight in Quebec from Korea, and I had lost against Mike McCollum in my first shot, and I got the opportunity again now to fight for that same belt. It was vacated. He didn't want. As a matter of fact, we was fighting for a rematch, but he didn't want it, and I was given the opportunity to fight in Quebec. And before I left the Virgin Islands, my brother, who was a pastor, came to the airport, and he said to me, God spoke to him, and God told him that if I accept Jesus Christ in my life, I will in turn become the world champion. And when he said that, I knew that I had to do it. I had to do it. I accepted. I accepted Christ, and believe me, I went up there and I came back the world champion. I came back the world champion.
That's always
amazing.
the best feeling. Always the best feeling. Before we wrap this interview up, I could sit here and talk to you for hours about
Wow.
boxing and listen to you about, I mean, you're a legend in the sport, the best of the best in the fight game. And you're still around, like you said, indirectly with your kids.
Yes.
And it's definitely an honor to interview. I was talking to your son, and I was like, I am just so nervous. I'm a huge fan. And again, for like the last month, I've just been watching your fights, and it's just amazing, talking to you and seeing what you've done in the game.
Lisa, before you go, um, what is amazing is that to me as well, I'm amazed about this. I have three sons,
Hmm.
okay, and three of them have been to the Olympics.
Yes, yes.
You know,
I
and,
remember
and
talking to John about that.
yeah, and from a family of, I have I have four sons, and all four of my boys have been to the Olympics. And I think that in itself, says something. It's amazing for us to be on that stage. It says something, and again, it's because of the grace of God, the love of God, and the desire to want to do something to make a difference. And if there's any athletes out there that is going to be hearing, any youngsters out there, if you want to make, you know, uh, 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 your life, make a difference, or to, do something that will affect, you know, your life, you just got to believe in yourself. You got to just make up your mind that, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make this thing work and it's going to happen. And I guarantee you won't. I don't think you will be ashamed of it. I think you're gonna go somewhere, and that's what happened to me. That's what's happening with us right now with my family. We're believing for the best, and we're gonna push, you know, towards the calling, and we're gonna do our best to make it, man. And I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Oh no, it is my pleasure. It is my pleasure, my honor.